Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Wow, I can't believe Championship Sunday is in the books. There's only one football game left, the Super Bowl. It's incredible how fast the season really goes. I remember like it was yesterday, the Eagles starting the season. The Eagles running out of the tunnel week 1 against the Washington Redskins and Deshaun Jackson scoring 2 touchdowns. Oh, how times change. And now there are 2 football teams left. But let's talk about what happened on Championship Sunday. You have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Tennessee Titans, and Pat Mahomes was electric. Andy Reid was phenomenal, and you also have Green Bay not showing up whatsoever in San Francisco. So a lot of different storylines, a lot of things to break down. But before we do, I need to let you know about my SeatGeek promo code BROADS. Are you looking to go to any game out there, any concert, any event? If you use Broads at SeatGeek's checkout page, you will receive $20 off of your total purchase. It's a no-brainer. That is free parking, free food, free beer. Use the promo code BROADS today. So let's start with the 35-21 victory that occurred for the Chiefs in Kansas City. It started out just like the last game they played, where they fell behind early. They had to battle back. They had to face adversity, but you could sense that no one was scared. Even when the Titans went up 10-0 because of a Derrick Henry touchdown, even when the Titans were up 17-7 after Dennis Kelly scores a touchdown and ends up receiving a touchdown. I mean, that was incredible, right? There was still no panic involved in the stadium, on the sideline, in the head coach, because they just overcame adversity to an even higher level when they were down big against the Houston Texans. So they knew they could come back. They knew that wasn't really a big-time deficit. They would be able to find a way to get going, to get rhythm, and guess what? That's exactly what they did. Here you go. Here's another game this season where the Chiefs go on a big run and they score consecutive points, and a lot of consecutive points. Pat Mahomes, 27-yard touchdown run down the sidelines, making people miss, finding ways to get a touchdown. He was a magician out there. He's so fun to watch. The throws he makes when he's on the run and when he extends plays, it's ridiculous. How do you stop that? And I'm so happy for Andy Reid. I really am. I am rooting for him. I am pulling for him. He deserves a championship. He is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's one of the best coaches in the history of the game. I want to see him hoist a trophy. And if you're an Eagles fan rooting against him because of what occurred here, that's soft, really. That's a joke. When you take a step back from what Andy Reid did here, and you let time pass, you realize he helped this team go to championship weekends consistently. Even though he wasn't able to get the big game done here, even though he wasn't able to win the trophy and win the Super Bowl, he was allowing this team to be involved every season. The fact that the Eagles were even talking about the Super Bowl hopes every season, that's all you can ask for out of a franchise. Be involved. Be in the conversation. Have enough talent and a good enough coach where the Super Bowl isn't a bad talking point. It's meaningful. There's value to it because the talent was there and the head coach was there. It was an acceptable conversation to have heading into every season. So I am pulling for Andy Reid to finally check this off the list because it's the only thing he needs to complete an already Hall of Fame career. And speaking of coaches, you got to give the offensive coordinator a ton of praise. Eric Bieniemy. We all know about the discussion right now when it comes to him not getting a head coaching job and how smart he is and how great he is and he's calling the plays. We all know about that conversation, and I do believe that he deserves a head coaching job because what he is doing with this offense, it's unreal. Now, Andy Reid has a ton of background when it comes to fantastic offenses. He has a lot of say when it comes to this Chiefs offense. But what Bieniemy is doing needs to be noticed. He has the credibility, he has the creativity, and he is a very smart football coach. He deserves a head coaching job, and hopefully this puts him on notice. Even though he already should be on notice, hopefully this puts him on even more notice. And if they win the game, well, then it's game over. There's no doubt about it. He should receive a head coaching job some point soon here in the NFL. You need to credit the defense for the Chiefs. Last season, they were abysmal, right? But when Derrick Henry is running through people left and right week after week, knowing that's going to be the game plan, for the Chiefs to stop him, that's remarkable. Because a lot of people look at this Chiefs defense and say, okay, we all know the offense carries the team. Well, they did their job. And here's another thing about the Titans, and I will give them their respect after I'm done talking about the Chiefs. When they are down, they don't have the style to come back and win. Their style is built for beating teams early, getting a big lead, draining the clock, running the football, winning the trenches. They were putting together 8-minute drives, burning clock, having Pat Mahomes sitting on the sideline early in this game while they were racking up points. But once the Chiefs came back and once they found ways to score and the Titans were down, they don't have the type of offense where they can score at will, come back into games. And that forced Tannehill to have to throw the ball. And you need to credit the Chiefs' defense because they did their job. They did something that a lot of teams couldn't do. And good teams. Baltimore's defense, New England's defense. We can talk all we want about how Tom Brady's not the same and they didn't have a great team when it comes to offense and wide receivers. Their defense was at the top of the league all season long. Those teams could not figure it out. Now, some of it can do with fatigue, because when you look at the Titans, they needed to win the last game of the season. They needed to win in New England. They needed to win in Baltimore. So to ask a team to win 4 straight games like that and to put so much pressure on one running back with an obnoxious amount of carries, that's a tough ask. So fatigue can absolutely play a factor. But what it came down to was the Chiefs are so talented. So when you look at the Titans, you say, what a hell of a run. What a hell of a run. Keep your heads up high. There was nothing you can do about it. This wasn't about not showing up. This wasn't about a lack of effort. The Titans gave them everything they possibly could. They just got outmatched because one team is way more talented than the other, and one team is so one-dimensional. Once you stop that run game, it's game over because Ryan Tannehill isn't going to come back and have this epic comeback, make these elite throws, sustain drives. It's just not going to happen through Ryan Tannehill. That's not his game. He is just a manager and a very average manager. I'm surprised they made it as far as they did. Give the credit to Mike Vrabel for having this team mentally checked in, mentally prepared for dialing up unbelievable plays. What they do in the red zone, using linemen and being very creative and having Derrick Henry take the snap and running it in. He does so many creative things, that team as a whole, that coaching staff as a whole, when it comes to the offense. It's remarkable. But what Mike Vrabel does, he has the same effect as Doug Peterson when it comes to keeping everyone on the same page. Everyone being bought in. Because he's a guy where he played in the league for a while. He was a dominating force, right? Won Super Bowls. But he's also one of the guys. In practice, he's being one of the guys that goes up against players. He's teaching people things by doing it himself, showing them what to do, going up one-on-one with players. There's something about his personality that these players truly respect out of him. And I love the story of Mike Vrabel. I really do. I think as a head coach, he has a lot of things that will go very far when it comes to his message and his leadership. So when you look at the Titans, you just have to say, congratulations on one hell of a run. No one would have expected you guys to get this far. And you lost because the team you went up against in the AFC Championship game on the road, yeah, that team, it's special. It has a special quarterback. It has one of the best coaches ever in the history of the NFL. There's only so much you can do. When Tyreek Hill has that much speed, when Travis Kelce's doing his thing, Sammy Watkins over 100 yards, there's only so much you can do. And the time ran out for the Titans, but they need to hold their head high because it wasn't as if they weren't prepared. It wasn't as if they didn't work hard. It wasn't as if they made horrendous plays. Talent wins. Talent wins. And it's a tough ask to go into that building after what they already did. And it's a tough ask for them to, go in there and win at the end of the day. So it was really fun to watch, though. It was. Pat Mahomes is special. It's incredible, really. What he does when it comes to escaping and what he does with his legs, it's going to be a super fun matchup against, and we might as well get to this game now, the 49ers. When you look at the Green Bay Packers, that's a team where when you lose like this, you should somewhat hold your head down because you didn't come prepared. It was the exact opposite of the Titans. The Titans did everything they possibly could. The Green Bay Packers left so much on the field. First half, abysmal. Aaron Rodgers throwing an interception. A missed snap. It hits the lineman in the butt. The ball goes down. No one knows where it is. The ball's sitting on the ground for a couple seconds. The 49ers jump on it. The Green Bay Packers defense could not stop the run game one bit. The Green Bay Packers should be ashamed of themselves because they did not come ready to go. They did not leave that building with any positives. And I thought Aaron Rodgers said it best. He's very frustrated because he realizes how tough it is to get to an NFC Championship game. He knows that time is running out. And that's why I always look at the Eagles situation and I say, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to ever do it. He's got a Super Bowl. It's so damn hard to win a Super Bowl. When you have someone like Carson Wentz, you need to appreciate it because he is a type of quarterback that can win the Super Bowl. He's the type of quarterback that has an unbelievable skill set. It doesn't mean it will always result in a championship every year because, as I stated and as Aaron Rodgers stated, it's so damn hard to do it. But you got to appreciate what you got. And it's ironic that I'm going to have this conversation and flip it over to Jimmy Garoppolo because I asked the question, what is Jimmy Garoppolo? What is he? Do you need an elite quarterback with an unbelievable skill set to make it to the Super Bowl? Because I don't know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. How am I supposed to know when he throws 8 passes? What the 49ers did with that run game, it was sickening. And Kyle Shanahan is so creative with this run game. Really? Mostert? Really? 220 yards on 29 carries and 4 touchdowns? Really? That offensive line that dominated the trenches and opened up so many holes for him to run? He was barely touched. Really? Kittle? Really? And how about that defense? That defensive line, talk about the trenches. What they did was insane. This matchup is going to be awesome to watch with the Chiefs and the 49ers. But going back to the NFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers was not good enough. He didn't have much to work with. He didn't have much time because that offensive line was getting abused by the 49ers defense. You got Richard Sherman making plays, picking off Aaron Rodgers late to seal the deal. Devontae Adams had numbers, but here's the thing. When you look at the Green Bay Packers as a whole, and when we looked at their record, didn't we all assume it was somewhat faulty? Not saying that Green Bay is a horrendous football team, but what I'm saying is, were they that good? Where were their threats? You have Devontae Adams. Then what? You had one guy. And when the 49ers had so much noise coming in terms of pressure, he had no time to make plays, and he knew that. You can tell and you can sense when Aaron Rodgers was in the pocket and he didn't have his first read wide open, he was confused, and he knew he didn't have time to go through his progressions because everyone was coming at him and coming at him quick. He did not have time. Now, Aaron Rodgers extends plays. That's one of the things he does best. But with this type of defensive front and with this type of pressure, good luck. Good luck. It's going to be a tough day at the office. And oh, by the way, the 49ers lost Coleman with an arm injury in this game, and he has value with this team, no doubt about it. How about this? Chip Kelly leaves the Eagles. 2 years later, they win the Super Bowl. Chip Kelly leaves the San Francisco 49ers. 3 years later, they're at least in the Super Bowl. So they have a chance to win it. Like, what the hell? Chip Kelly, you fraud. You fraud. I can't even stand looking at his face. He should feel ashamed of himself for what he did. For real. Remember week 17 when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers? They were a half of an inch short of going to Philadelphia to play and not hosting the NFC Championship. I don't know if I said that right. Were they an inch short? Seattle was an inch short of winning. You understand what I'm saying. Because of a half of an inch, the 49ers got a first round bye and they got to host a playoff ride. All because of a half of an inch. It's a game of inches, right? That's what they say. They were that close of having to go on the road. It's pretty wild to think about. And that could potentially be, that play against Seattle could potentially be the difference in winning a Super Bowl or not. That's mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing. And I saw something interesting on Twitter when you think about the Bay Area. The Oakland A's, they made some noise. That stops. The Golden State Warriors makes a lot of noise. That stops, at least for the year until Steph Curry and Klay Thompson comes back. Now you have the 49ers in the Super Bowl? Come on now. How does that happen? Why isn't that happening to Philly sports, huh? Why? Of course not, because I'm a fan of them. When you look at the Chiefs, they have not been in the Super Bowl in 50 years. That dates back to the conversation I just had previously. It's so damn hard to get there. And I think this storyline is so unique. It's so different. You don't have the New England Patriots involved. Both of these teams are really enjoyable. Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan. When you look at the 49ers, they did squat last year. Squat. They barely won any football games. Now, they went through a ton of injuries, but they barely won any football games. And now you have Jimmy Garoppolo coming back, throwing 8 passes in an NFC Championship game, and oh, by the way, they dominated? If I'm the Chiefs, and not that I want to get too heavily into the preview right now of the Super Bowl, because we have 2 weeks, and that's the worst part about it. You got to wait all this time for the best football game of the season, right? Before you know it, though, it comes like that. It literally comes like that. But if I'm the Chiefs and I just stopped Derrick Henry, I would feel good about stopping the 49ers run game. But here's the thing. I think the 49ers have an interesting offense and a very powerful defense, while the Chiefs have a powerful offense, but the defense isn't, it's not bad. It's not bad. But when you look at both sides of the ball on the 49ers, I think when you combine both sides, they have more than if you were to combine both sides with the Chiefs, if that makes sense. But like I said, I don't want to get too heavily into the preview because there's going to be a discussion about that as the Super Bowl comes closer. But look, when you break down Championship Sunday, I don't know if it was the craziest weekend in the world. It's a lot more entertaining when your team's involved than when your team's dominating a squad at home. Because when you date back to 2017, you think about Nick Foles and what he did against the Minnesota Vikings at home. It was a beatdown. It was a blowout. It was so entertaining. I was going nuts, but I was calm because I didn't have to worry about it. I was leaned back in my rocking chair just enjoying the ride. It's not as fun when you're watching another team just dominate when you don't have an emotional tie. So the game wasn't very entertaining. That Green Bay 49ers game wasn't entertaining, but it was interesting. It's still football. It's playoff football on Championship Sunday. Like, there's still tremendous value in watching the game. When you looked at the Chiefs game, there was more focus on it because you see Tennessee go up early. You see them have a big lead. You see them march downfield. You see them burn clock. You see Pat Mahomes sitting on the bench with his jacket on waiting to get in the game. There was more action and closer. The game was closer at times, and it was more of a football game. As I stated, all around, it's still a championship Sunday, so it's fun. But it wasn't the craziest thing in the world. But what has the potential to be is this matchup on February 2nd in Miami. So I want to know your thoughts down below on this. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.